Okay, Mr. Chairman, you're live on YouTube and ready to go whenever it's 6:30.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's 6:30. We will call this Budget and Finance Committee meeting to order. Looks like we have one committee member missing. We'll go ahead and get started. He informed me today that he didn't know if he was going to be able to make it. Everyone on the committee should have received a copy of the minutes from Commissioner Savage. I think Lauren sent them out as well. Anybody go ahead and request a motion to approve and dispense with the reading?
I'll make a motion to approve it, dispense with the reading.
Okay, got a motion from Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ross. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, if not, Commissioner Savage, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Here.
Scott Rubley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Is Cole Taylor absent?
Yes, it appears that he is not with us.
Okay. Commissioner Ross, did you vote yes?
I'm sorry. Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Savage. It was requested tonight that the first item that be on the agenda, because of some scheduling conflicts, was the airport budget. And Mr. Keith Bolden is with us tonight, and I'm sure he's got some things that he'd like to bring before the committee. Mr. Bolden, welcome. And if you would, go ahead and you may begin presenting your information to us.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I do have some pictures, and I didn't know whether we could show those to you. It's just pictures of fuel tanks and then the equipment that we, that we sold that went back to the general fund. Can we do that? And then I can go through it.
I don't have a problem with that. That should be fine.
Okay.
I'll have to have allowed to.
We would have to be allowed to share that.
It's a permission.
It's a permission. I didn't know whether we could. If we can't go forward, it's not a problem.
Hey, excuse me, Keith.
Yes.
Did you have them on your phone?
Yeah, we did. We have them on the phone, yes. But I'm actually on my phone right now. But I can send them to everybody. I have some of the text or the phone numbers we can text them to later. Mainly, what it is we built our new sign and we've got the letters on it. I know Cole goes by it when he drives in, and we still got to set a 35-foot flagpole. And then we're going to put lights where we'll light the sign up at night. So, as far as people knowing where the airport is and it looking really good, we can do that. I can show you a picture of the sign. I'll turn it away from it. Okay. So there's a picture of the new sign. If everybody can see that. And then on the fuel tanks, there's a picture of the fuel tanks. And we, of course, that was one of the big investments this year. And it was a large amount that the county only had to pay. Of course, paid 5% of, the state paid the 95%. And then this is of some airplanes that were filling up on the fuel tank. Had two Cessna 150s come in. Then there's a twin engine filling up on the new tanks. And of course, it's able to go 24 hours. And then this other picture is of some of the equipment that we sold. And those are really the only pictures that I have. And so to kind of go down my list to let everybody just kind of know what the airport's been doing. Of course, we sold $21,000 worth of surplus equipment, which included a John Deere 20-foot bush hog and a 3-point hitch tiller, among several other things that brought in a little over $21,000. We also surplused a John Deere tractor with a loader, bucket, and forks, and a bush hog that we estimate was worth at least another $20,000. That Justin over at the, Josh, excuse me, over at sanitation had come and looked at it, and I think he's going to end up with that, depending on what y'all want to do. The second thing is, of course, the county paid 5% of the purchase of the equipment for the airport whenever we first bought it, and then whenever we sell it, of course, you get the full amount of whatever it brings, and so that helps go back to the general fund. Some other things that we have done is we purchased 3 acres of land from Harold McGinnis, and this was recommended by Tennessee Aeronautics. And of course, 95% of that was paid by them. And the reason we bought it was trying to be able to see the end of runway 5 for a safety reason. And Aeronautics recommended we do that. We also purchased 20 acres from Sammy Bratcher, and that was across the 4-lane Jerry Cooper Highway, and it's kind of off the end of runway 23. And again, this was recommended to us by Tennessee Aeronautics, and again, they paid 95% for that. In section 702 labeled in our amount that we're asking for, it talks about that there's $75,000 and it's design bidding for new LED lighting for the runway. And our lighting system is like 25 years old. And so again, they're recommended at some point that we try to start that process of getting our lighting changed. And so it's to try to do the design bidding for that. And also in section 702, it's got an airport layout plan. That's $200,000. And Tennessee Aeronautics requires that the airports do this at least every 5 years. And so it's again time for that. And also in section 702, there's an obstruction clearing, and the construction's $100,000. And this is for removal of trees, allowing the airport to remove the air displaced threshold. And what that means, right now, our airport is 4,700 feet long, and we have a displaced threshold that's back 300 feet. Well, some jets can come in here because their insurance allows them, but a lot of insurance companies, they want to have a minimum of 5,000 feet to let those small business jets come in. And so we have been in the process of trying to get rid of this displaced threshold and get us a full 5,000 foot runway. And so, in doing this, what happens is we're about halfway from all the cities up north and then in Florida. And so we have them coming through with transient aircraft that stop in here to fuel because we're in such a good location of being halfway. And we had, and by doing that, of course, it'll help us sell a lot more fuel. I was out here the other day and a Cessna 182 came in, and a man and his wife and his 2 children got out, and they were from Chicago, and they had gone to Florida for their vacation. And so he looked on ForeFlight, saw that we had a decent fuel, so they decided to land here, refuel their plane to go on back to Chicago. And so it gives them a good place to get in, have a bathroom break and come in and in our nice lobby and kind of give them a rest from riding in the plane. And so that's the reason we're trying to do this, for us to be able to get rid of that 300 foot and gain to 5,000 feet and get rid of the displaced threshold. Then what that does is we're having to clear some trees so that it won't be in our glide path. There's also in section 702, there's $60,000 for the construction of clearing easements, and that's where some of the trees are on other property owners, and so we have to, again, be able to get those easements to clear the trees. We're actually in the process, because this got moved, we're in the process of interviewing a new airport manager tonight. And I had to come in here and do this. And so we're delaying that till I can kind of get back in there. In our budget, we've asked for $60,000 for the airport manager. Richard was making over $58,000. We checked around the other local airports, and kind of the average low pay for a manager is $59,000. The other thing that we are really needing is like $4,500 budget for our interim manager to be able to train the new manager for 1 month. And so that's something that we would like to have. Of course, we've got our new sign complete. We're still going to landscape around it. We have the fuel system that I showed you the picture of. One thing that'll help us is that is a 24-hour system. So even jets and planes can come in here at night and refuel using a credit card system. With it being a new system, of course, we'll have less maintenance on it. We'll have warranties, and each tank also holds 12,000 gallons, and that allows us to buy in bulk and save the county money on buying fuel. So on another item is you can look at our budget that we've turned in, and we're $3,622 less than we were in last year's budget. And what we're doing is restructuring some of our employees and trying to use a little bit more part-time help here. We still have $80,000 in reserve from the state of Tennessee from land sold when it was sold for the 4-lane for the Jerry Cooper Highway. And what we're asking is for $125,000 to go with the $80,000 that's in reserve to build our new maintenance building to store our tractors and our bush hogs and our other equipment. We got a new tractor and a bush hog. I think it's been a couple of years now. And of course, the county only had to pay 5% for those. And so we've been right now, because we don't have a maintenance hangar, we've been having to store our equipment in 3 of our aircraft hangars. And of course, if, we've kind of been asking for this for like 5 years. Well, that hangar rental would have been $5,400 a year for 5 years, and could have returned $27,000 back to the general fund. The other thing that we're having is we have 12 people right now on a waiting list for hangars. And so not only do you get the hangar rent from them, but if they're flying their planes out of here, you get the fuel as well. So it just increases our revenue. As of our budget last year, we're showing that we've returned $315,000 in gross sales, which is made up of fuel sales, oil, and hangar rental back to the general fund. One of the things, and we were asked, I think it was either last year or the year before, I think the committee asked us to increase our hangar rental. You can look at our budget, and we had $50,000 budgeted for 20, and we have $70,000 in our new budget for income. So we have gone up on all of our hangars to try to bring more income to the county. The Warren County Airport Commission is made up of business people. We're trying to run this airport like we own it. It is one of the front doors to the community, and having a well-run and great-looking airport also helps to recruit industry when they fly in and meet with our industrial recruiter. If an industry builds a factory or currently has one in the county, they'll be able to go into the local airport, not have to go into Nashville or somewhere, and be able to take care of the business and fly back out of this airport. So, what I'm asking is, we just love if you would approve our budget as it is, and I'll try to answer any questions you have.
Keith, I have a question. You said that you were proposing that you spend $4,500 to train a new administrator?
Yes, and what that is, Of course, when Richard quit, Mike Roberts, of course, left. He is the airport manager, so he went off the commission, and so he has learned all of this and had to straighten out some stuff that Richard hadn't done there on the end right before he quit. Richard, we started putting some pressure on him because things weren't getting done, and he walked out. And so Mike had to fix some of those items and get them straightened back out with the state. He wasn't turning in some of the invoices back to the state to get Warren County reimbursed on some money. And so Mike was able to get all that done where the county would get paid back what they were supposed to. And Mike and I both had started putting some pressure on him to get those things done. He had worked with a fuel company trying to get this fuel system up and running, and we were trying to get it finished up, and he wasn't pushing them kind of like we thought he ought to, so we put more pressure on him, and he decided to quit. And so with Mike learning this and straightening all this out, we felt like we needed 1 month kind of training to get the new person up to speed. What we didn't want to do was hire a new manager, throw them into it, say, here, you've just got to figure all this out. So that's what we were asking for that amount.
Okay, can you tell me where that's reflected in this budget, Keith, or has it not been?
I don't actually think it's on the budget. It was just something that we would like to have. If we don't get it, we'll figure it out. So, but it's actually not in the numbers, I don't think. But there are some numbers on here where we could, as an example, I'm gonna go to 506. On our liability insurance, of course, we have an approved budget from last year of 13.5. We asked the same amount. We got a quote the other day, and we were quoted $6,176. And so there is some money right there that, from what we're asking in our budget could be possibly used for that. Another one that is on there is 207 on medical insurance. And we never know what employees that will ask for it, but like, in the last budget and this one, we budgeted the 10.8, but as of you can see on the line, none of that was used at all because the employees we've got either had insurance through their spouses or whatever, but they didn't ask for that. So there are some items on here. I think our budget this last year, we typically have been coming in under, a percentage under what our budget is anyway each year. And a lot of that's where the state, like I said, reimburses the county. So.
Keith.
Yes.
Tommy Savage.
Yeah. Are you?
Good. On number 702, airport improvements, it shows where your expenditures were $684,446.
Yes.
Okay, was that for purchase of land? What was that? A big chunk of that?
No, that was a lot of that is your fuel system, Tommy. That the county only has to pay 5% of that.
Okay.
That fuel system.
Okay. Okay.
And,
well,
it looks like a large number at 640, but really the county's out like $32,000 for this brand new fuel system.
Right.
And that's one of the things that and Scott and I talked a little bit about it. I don't quite understand because when we talk to the state says that Warren County and maybe 2 or 3 more airports are the only airports that we understand are in the state, but talking to them, that where we budget all the money for the project and then we pay that off, and then the state reimburses the county back to 95%. Well, it makes us have a really high budget that's not really, it reflects a lot of money, but then in those categories, you get 95% of it back. Because you can look up there in the as far as the income of this budget, and it's showing $435,000 on that airport maintenance program coming back in. And so, like I said, it makes it look like a really high budget, but it's not really as high as it looks, if that makes any sense. It's kind of hard to even explain, but
Keith, on line item 702, my understanding is that the airport layout plan, that's mandatory. That's something you have to do.
yes, sir.
How often?
Well, they tell us every 5 years we have to give them a new airport layout plan. And that's just part of the rules and regulations.
Okay, the obstruction clearing, Keith, is that something that's mandatory? I know we talked about that in the past, but that's something that is a necessity, correct?
Well, it is a necessity for us to try to get our 5,000 foot runway. And so, what we're trying to do is, this whole deal of new 4-lane came in, and us getting the land that's across the old highway there. And of course, we closed that road off and then re-fenced everything. All of this has been toward trying to extend the runway and get it to 5,000 foot without actually having to be out the cost of adding to the runway. And so that's actually was the cheaper of the two ways to be able to do it. And so this obstruction and all that, it's got to be done for us to be able to, like I said, to get a full 5,000 foot runway. And again, that does more business jets to come in here and take on fuel, and works better for our local industry plus transient people going between Florida and up north.
Okay, the 75,000 for design and bidding, that's included in the obstruction clearing and the airport layout plan, or is that just for obstruction clearing?
The design bidding of the $75,000 is for a new airport lighting system. What they're doing is,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I caught that earlier. I misunderstood and I forgot about it. Thank you.
they're trying to take all the airports over to the new LEDs. And like I said, the lighting system we have here now is approximately 20.
Mr. Bolden, is the lighting system, is that a part of the mandatory thing since they're switching it over?
Well, what happens is Tennessee Aeronautics, we have to do long-term planning. And so what they want us to do is we give them all the things that they want us to do. And then we have it in a file of trying to plan long-term to this airport. And that's what they want all the airports to do is go over to LED. And so we have to start somewhere, and that's where we start. Again, the county, with that 75,000, you're only out 5% of the money. So it's not the whole 75,000. It's 5% of the 75. And it's 5% of each one of those. That is the 75 and the 200 and the 100,000 and the 60,000. It's 5% of each one of those.
And also, Mr. Bolden, thank you for that answer. Also, do you have a projection of what, should we be able to build the shed and do these things for you, what that might have, the projection of what that might mean to the budget?
Well, if you can approve the budget, what we have is we have the 80,000 that is already in reserves from the sale of that TDOT. So what we were asking is for 25 more, which would give us the 205 to build that maintenance shed. And we think we can do it.
Yes, sir. I understand. I guess my question is, say we do that, what does that mean for your income? What can you project that's
Okay.
for the income?
Yeah. Okay, I understand now. Well, that is that part where I was telling you that it's like $5,400 a year that will be coming back, plus whatever fuel sales to have those extra planes here and people flying out of here. And of course, I can't tell you on the fuel sales, but we know it's like $5,400 more a year that'll be coming in. That'll be the minimum amount.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else have any questions from Mr. Bolden before I ask for a motion. Keith, I appreciate all the information you've given us, and it looks like you're doing a good job out there. We've got the only concerns that we have right now are budgetary. I know we're up against the wall on this budget deadline, and I know that you've got a lot of things going out there. My only concern is how the economy, the unknowns for next year. All this is projected revenue that we've got coming into the budget, and I know you've asked for this $120,000 for a few years now, but I just fear that this is not the year. I'm just concerned of what revenues or revenue shortfalls we're going to have next year. So that's our only concern.
Sure. Well, when we,
Anybody have any comments on that?
go ahead.
Commissioner Savage, did you make a comment, or was that Mr. Baldwin?
No,
Sorry about that. I started to say, a few years ago, of course, we had asked for 85, and now we're at 125. Of course, construction costs have gone up quite a bit over the last few years, and so, like I said, just we would have already put 27,000 back in the general fund if we could have gotten it a few years ago. And of course, we're going to ask for it every year because we feel like we really need it. It's not only just having them in the hangars, but this is not just a storage building for that equipment, but it's also a place where they can maintenance it. And trying to maintenance a tractor and a bush hog that's trying to cram in tied into an airplane hangar, it's not really made for this equipment. So it's a very tight fit and hard to work on anything. And that's why we were trying to get in there. It's not just for storage, y'all. It's actually a full maintenance shop to try to take care of everything here. We've got not only got tractors and bush hogs, but we have a lot of other equipment, mowers and different things here that we have to work on as well. So, that's what we're asking for, just trying to get us a better place to work and take care of our equipment. Like I said, when we got the new tractor and bush hog, of course, on any equipment, it has to pay 5%. So, I am.
I think we lost him.
I think we did too.
Am I not there?
Yeah, there you are. I think
Okay.
Miss Darlene Bryant has logged on, and Darlene, if you don't care, put your computer on mute. It was picking up some music in the background, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Did
Hey,
y'all?
Keith,
Yes.
it's Randy.
Yeah.
I'm just curious that, you got your 80,000 and you want an additional 125, and then I'm just sitting here thinking, you're looking at what, 205 for a building. I don't know what size building that you're looking at. That's not been discussed, but is there any way of reducing that down to where you don't need the 125? Or is that something that you've got to have this size building?
Well, to get all of our equipment in there, Randy, that's what we're needing to try to do that. And Scott and I think had talked about this earlier, that one of the problems that you have is when stuff bids at an airport, it's not like going out and building a pole farm. We have to have engineered drawings, and we have to jump through some extra hoops at this airport. And, it's not much different from the way your schools have to have. And so it takes more money to get that stuff done because it is an airport. And so that is one reason that it costs what it does.
Oh, I understand completely. Airport's different. It's just different because everything's got to be built different.
It is. It's a lot tougher. It sure is.
Mr. Bowden,
I'm
go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I was just gonna say, I love our airport. I go out there and I fly with the Bass Hams quite a bit, and I appreciate the new fuel farm sale that we have and what have you. You know, I don't care to tell you, I'm kind of like Scott. I'm a little bit torn, knowing what's going to. We can't see the future, and so I'm sitting here in my kitchen table on a fence, and I'm just being honest with you.
Mr. Bolden, I was going to say, I understand how much you need this, how important it is to this county to be able to have the quality airport and certainly the extra space. And, you know we need it, and it is going to just keep going up. For my position, I'm also like Mr. Rubley and Mr. England. These are trying times. But I also, from my position, I think that it's something that we need to do. I'm just so torn about if this is the year to do it, certainly with COVID. If we didn't have the COVID situation, it would be a no-brainer for me. That's the only thing that scares me just a little bit.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, well, Keith, we appreciate everything that you've brought forth, and we appreciate what you're doing out there. I know that there's a lot involved in running this airport, and there's a lot of unseen things that we don't realize. But I think the sentiment of the committee right now is that we're just kind of afraid with the financial situation that we may be facing next year. We don't know what this economy is going to do, so we're kind of hesitant on adding money to budgets unless it's absolutely possible. We've had some budgets that we have had to add some money to because of some equipment that we knew was in disrepair, and it was costing us more to repair than it would to replace. So we have spent some money in some budgets that we felt like it was necessary, but this time I'm still just afraid that in the time that we're living, there are just so many unknowns in the next fiscal year that we're just really concerned about this 120.
Sure. Well, we'll ask again next year if y'all decide you don't want to do it this year.
Hey, Keith, I got one more question. I'll go back to my.
Yep.
I don't mean to ask the same question twice, but.
Okay.
Could you, and I'm just hypothetically here, you need 125, would it help you at all if you got 75 to go with your 80, or are you still kind of in the hole at that point?
I mean, the only other thing we could do would be if we had less money, would be to try to build a smaller building with an expandable end wall so that we could, add on to later time. I mean, yes, we'd welcome whatever y'all would give us, and we'll try to see if we can figure out a way to at least get us, part of the building, and maybe, like I said, with an expandable end wall where we could add on to it at a later time and get it to the size it needs to be. So, but I mean, yeah, I'd entertain that for sure.
Mr.
Okay.
England, I like
Go ahead.
that idea. I would certainly be willing to compromise on that. I think that would at least get the ball rolling a little bit without putting too much of a squeeze on us.
I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I told you a while ago, I love going to the airport and I like to fly. But me as an instructor at the school, and then I meet with industry all the time, and they fly in here all the time. And believe it or not, most of them compliment on how nice our airport is and how nice our facility is. And I sure want to try to help in any way I can. But if it's the will of the committee, I would, if we could drop that to $75,000 and they could get a partial building, like he said, with an expandable wall, maybe if we can't do it next year or the year after, we could make it bigger. At least we could get the equipment into a shed. I hate to use the word shed, but at least get the other hangars rented and be getting part of our money back. Is that, Mr. Chairman, is that something you would consider?
Commissioner England, if you put that in the form of a motion, we will sure present it to the committee.
I'll put that in the form of a motion that we reduce the 125 to 75 in changing his budget.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner England, second by Commissioner Ross, and that is to reduce the amount from 120 to 75. And I think
Was it 125 or 125?
It was 5 to 7.
That's what their
Correct.
bookkeeper, right?
I'm sorry, 125.
All right.
And I think,
Okay.
I think we're,
Reduce one, reduce 125 to to 75,000.
Yes, sir.
Is that your motion? That's
Yes,
for the
sir.
building.
Yes, maintenance buildings. I hate to use the word shed, but I think it's maintenance building.
Commissioner England, the $4,500 for training was not reflected on this budget. I think that whether you wish for that to be left in or excluded from the budget, I think that needs to be in this motion since it was not reflected on the budget.
Did I not maybe correct me, but I understood that maybe their insurance was going to decrease and maybe there could be some monies there.
We
I
could
think-
transfer money from their insurance to cover it.
Because they're going to, is that you, Justin? I'm sorry. Did
Yeah,
I understand
it
that right, Keith, that you guys were going to get a little cheaper rate of insurance would create some
Yes.
money there?
That is correct, Randy. What we have a quote for right now in the budget, of course, we did the same as last year at 13.5, but Mike Roberts told me the other day he had a quote for $6,176 for liability insurance. I don't know what the difference of that is.
So you
Roughly,
think your budget can absorb the cost of that then?
yes. It's going to be over $7,000, roughly $7,300. That our insurance, our liability insurance, should be less than what is in this budget.
But you only need 4,500 for the training.
That is correct. Yes.
Well, I agree that anybody with a new job, especially with an airport, you got to have some training. I don't care who you are and how long you've been in it. You're going to have some training. So I think if they pull it out of the insurance line, do we have to vote on that on any direction, or they can just do that on their own?
I think it would need to be voted on since it's not reflected in the submitted budget.
Okay, then.
Justin, you do need that reflected in a line item for certain.
Yeah. Yes. Because I don't believe they have enough. Well, I don't know if they do or not, but if they want to move money from liability insurance to cover salaries, we'll need to do that, or it'll have to be amended later, since it does involve salaries.
But let me understand, this is a one-time thing as well.
Yes, it is a one-time. Like I said, it's just, we're actually interviewing managers we're interviewing 4 people tonight for the airport manager job. And so, like I said, when we get that person on, all this was a one-time thing for Dr. Roberts to, they've got it and bring them up to speed.
Okay, then if we change your insurance from $13,500 to $8,000, then that would be plenty for your insurance, and then we can make a line item, say 703 for training for $4,500.
That's fine. If it is, yeah.
Justin, that would probably need to go added to salary and wages, correct?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we could increase 189 other salaries and wages by the $4,500 they're requesting.
I'll make that motion if we need to put it that way, that we make line item 189 $99,500, if my math is correct, and that we make line item 506 liability insurance at $8,000.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I think we already have a motion on the floor from the other one still on the floor. Can that,
We,
do we need to clear that one out before we move on to this one? Or does that matter? May not matter.
for legal purposes, we probably would need to rescind those motions.
Okay. Got ahead of ourselves a little bit. I apologize.
Okay, which motion you rescinding? Which motion are you rescinding? One to change insurance, or the motion to reduce the 125 to 75?
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll rescind the one we just said about the insurance and the salaries, and let's go ahead, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman. We'll vote on the reduction of the 125 to 75, and then we'll come back to that other.
So this is a line item motion. This is not for the complete budget approval.
No, sir. No, sir. This will be, the difference of the 125 to 75, just one particular item.
Okay.
And I made that motion, and Christie had seconded it. If Tommy
Okay.
wants to reflect on that, that's correct.
You clear on that, Commissioner Savage?
Yes.
Okay, we have the original motion and second. Is there any discussion? And I'll say this, Keith, I appreciate what you all are doing out there. I think you're doing a good job. And I know that funding is always an issue in every department. More money, it means more facilities and better facilities. But right now, I'm just going to have to vote no on this one. And nothing against the airport or you guys. It looks like you're doing a great job, but I'm just really concerned about the times that we're facing in the next fiscal year. And that's the only reason that I'm not supporting this right now.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion?
Okay, and this is a vote on the reducing 125 to 75, right?
Correct. Okay, Commissioner Savage, if you would please call the roll.
Okay, my phone's been going in and out. And make this motion clear. This is a motion to reduce the 125 to 75, correct?
Correct. This is just for line item 702 right now. We're not voting on the entire budget.
All right. Okay. You ready to call the roll?
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Rubley,
No.
Tommy Savage votes no. Motion ties 2-2.
Okay, because that needs to be the majority of the entire body of the committee, that motion would fail. So we're back on the entire budget. Commissioner England, is it still your wishes to make a motion concerning the training? The
Yes,
movement?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go over that right now. We'll take line item, make sure I get my line items correct, 189, change it to 99.5, and go into the insurance, which is 506, and changing that to 8,000. And let me just make sure, I don't want Keith to have a shortfall, but you can get the insurance for that amount of money, correct?
Yes, what we're told.
Okay, thank you. All right. And I make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, let me copy this down. Okay, the motion is to change insurance to allow for 189 to change to 9905.
99.5.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
the-
99,500.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm hearing three people.
I apologize.
What is
That-
the number again?
99,500, Tommy, that would increase that $4,500. And what that is for is that's going into salaries and wages to
Interim.
increase to pay for the training of
Yeah.
the new director.
For the interim to pay the train the new director.
Yes. Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, Tommy, if you're ready, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, now that the budget's been amended, we're back on the entire budget. And judging from the previous vote, I know some people would like to add a portion of that money, but I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the budget excluding the match or the 125 for the construction of the building.
Anybody got a calculator where you can give me a total on that budget? Or you just want to do the?
I got it.
Okay,
I can give you the total.
okay.
It would be $1,043,757.50.
I mean,
Hey,
43,000.
Justin.
I'm
What was that?
$1,043,700 what?
$57.50.
Okay.
Hey, Justin. I just noticed here when we did that insurance move, we were $1,000 to the good. So have you taken that off?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm glad.
Yeah, I've got my spreadsheet open and I'm just changing the
Okay.
numbers as y'all vote on them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? And the motion is to approve the budget at $1,043,757.50.
I'll second.
Who made the motion?
I did. And Commissioner Ross was the second. Okay, is there any more discussion? If not, Tommy, whenever you're ready, go ahead and call the roll.
Okay. Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Yeah, Keith, thanks for all your information and what you're doing out there, and we appreciate it. And I know you're going to keep asking, and hopefully next year we're going to be looking at a little bit better economic conditions, and maybe we could say yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the second item tonight, second budget to be considered is the drug court budget, and I see that Mr. Price is with us. We approved his original budget, and Mr. Price was under the impression that he was going to receive some grant money. I don't know if he's under the impression or he was just very hopeful that he would. And since that has changed, his budget has changed, and I'll let Brad speak to that tonight. Brad, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to. What I'd like to do, if I have 4 different departments under the Adult Recovery Court program, and what I'd like to do is just run through all 4 of them. Their budgets are separate. And the first one is, Mr. Rubley just alluded to, is 55,170. That's the department. That is our enhancement grant, which is a federal grant that we've had for the last 4 years, excuse me. It's $321,897 a year. There's no match for Warren County on that. That grant will be expiring September the 30th of this year. So that grant will be going over. The federal government, their fiscal year is October to September. So that's the bad news. That grant is going away. We're not getting another grant on that. I do have a proposal out there with the Department of Justice, so I still have my fingers crossed on another grant. But that one is going away. So the budget's not changing any from last year with that. It stays the same. It's been 3 years at every year, $321,897. Does anybody have any questions on that one before I move forward?
Yes. Give me that number again. I'm taking notes.
321,897.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll move to the next department, which is our drug testing, GPS monitoring, and probation. That is account 53,900. What we do is we do drug testing for outside companies, including Warren County, City of McMinnville, the school system. We also do GPS monitoring for the court system that has people they place on bond that they want to monitor on house arrest instead of leaving them in the jail, which saves the jail a lot of money. And we also do probation fees after a person has completed our recovery court program after 18 months and they graduate. Instead of sending them to state probation or private misdemeanor probation, we've decided we keep them. And we have been monitoring them ourselves for the remainder of the time they're on probation, which we found that to be very beneficial to us and to the client. We charge a probation fee just like the probation companies do and the state does. So we bring in revenue on that. We're anticipated bringing in, with drug testing, probation fees, and GPS monitoring, we're anticipating $75,639 to be brought in. Out of that, we do have an expense of $60,000. That pays for the laboratory fees, our GPS monitoring company. It pays for 2 part-time case managers who manage these people that are on probation and do the drug testing. That leaves a balance of $15,639 that goes back into the general fund after expenses. Does anybody have any questions on that before I move forward? Okay. Our next department is we receive a state grant from, a grant from the state of Tennessee in its department 54710. That is a 100% no match with Warren County. It's $130,000 a year. And that is a recurring amount that we've received for the last 16 years that we've been in operation. They've increased that amount, as a matter of fact, from 70,000 to 130,000. So instead of taking money away from us, they've given us a little more. In that grant, we pay for my salary and we pay for a full-time therapist. And then we have supplies in that. And so that total comes to $130,000. And that, like I say, is no match for Warren County. Anybody have any questions on that one before I move forward? And then our last one is Department 53330, which is the drug court. Now, under that program, I've got a total budget of $182,639. That pays for case managers, that pays for recovery coaches, it pays our office rent, supplies, our drug testing that we have to do, and travel for our case managers when they have to go do home visits. That's the expense. Now, we get an income from everybody. We charge a $1,500 fee for every client that is in our drug court program for the 18 months they're in there. That's going to we anticipate bringing in $90,000 on those fees for next year. They're also with the state of Tennessee, for every person that is convicted or violates their probation because of a drug charge, we get $75 added to the clerk's fee. That comes directly back to Warren County because we have a drug court. We anticipate that fund of being $75,000. We also get another state grant for individuals that we send off to a treatment facility that the state runs in Morgan County. And when they come back, the state reimburses us for drug testing them, for treatment classes, and we anticipate that of being $2,000. And then the drug testing that I mentioned earlier, the $15,639, that's going to be money we're receiving in. That brings our credit of $182,639. So in the drug court, we have expense of $182,639. We have a revenue coming in of $182,639. It gives Warren County zero expense for operating that drug court in next year. Does anybody have any questions on that one? And that's our four different budgets. I'm not asking for any money. I mean, we're kind of self-sufficient at this time. Not only that, but we do pay rent. We have two offices there at the administrative building. My office, we pay $500 a month. And then the second office that we teach IOP classes, which is our intensive outpatient treatment, we pay $150 a month. So we're paying $650 a month to Warren County for those two offices. We pay our own phone bill and so we try not to take anything away from Warren County. And that's my budgets, and I'm open for questions.
Okay, Brad, thank you. I'd just like to say that we appreciate the work you do. I know that the drug court program has been a huge success in Warren County, that the rehabilitation rate has been astronomical. It's been really, really good. And everyone we talk to in the justice system has told us that the drug court is doing amazing things. I know you're limited in space, and because of budget constraints, you're probably going to be more limited, but we know you're doing the best you can, and we sure do appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Stan.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Mr. Price?
Brad, just for the record, on the 5330,
Yes.
Could you go over those again for me?
Okay. Let me get to 53. Okay. On 5330, what'd you say? You said, which one did you say?
Yeah, the last one, 5330.
53330. Okay. We anticipate we're going to have an expense next year of $182,639.
Okay.
We're going to bring in by participants the $1,500 fee they have to pay. We're going to bring in $90,000 for that. We're going to bring in $75,000 for every individual that has to pay a fine that's related to a violation of probation or a drug offense. We get that from the clerk's office collects that. We're going to get a reimbursement from the state of Tennessee for treatment for people that come back from Morgan County, which is a state-run inpatient treatment facility. And when they come back and we do drug tests on them and we do treatment classes with them, we get reimbursed, and that's going to be about $2,000. We're going to receive from our drug testing, GPS monitoring, we're going to receive and probation fees, we're going to receive a credit of $15,639 after expenses. So all our credits add up to $182,639, which is exactly what our expenses are for next year. And it's going to leave a zero balance for Warren County to have to pay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, are there any more questions or comments for Mr. Price?
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Brett, I just wanted to add on to kind of what Scott was saying. You know, you guys have run a phenomenal program, and you know, when I hear you talk about your budget, and how that, you know, your program pays for itself, of course, that in itself is wonderful. But then I just wanted to comment and add on how realistically too that, you know, you were talking about the specific numbers and line items that of the revenue that you actually contributed back to the county. And that is good too. And then also, what we all need to, you know, consider as well as those quote unquote, you know, unwritten revenues that come back to the county that we don't always think about, which is you guys doing so well with the follow up on these individuals in this program to where that keeps it receives the recidivism rate down so that we save on incarceration on these folks. And you know, I don't remember, I know the last time I talked to you, it's been a while, that how many people you currently have in your program, but if we took that number and we multiplied it by, you know, what it costs to, you know, keep an inmate in a rural county jail, which is somewhere in between $1,200 to $1,300 a month, or if not more, we multiply that by, let's say you have 100 people, you know, we can just get an idea right there on how much really revenue that the county is saving, and we're able to spend on other preventative efforts as well with what you're doing for the county. So I just wanted to add in again that you know, I'm highly impressed with your program, and I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there any more discussion, questions, or comments for Mr. Price? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve all of these budgets in a cumulative motion, knowing that
I'll make
Commissioner.
the motion.
Motion from Commissioner England to approve all of Brad's budgets. Is there a
Yes,
second?
sir.
Second,
Second from Commissioner Savage.
Savage.
Is there any discussion concerning the motion? If not, call the roll, please, Tommy.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ridley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Brad, we sure do appreciate everything you do. Once again, we appreciate you being here tonight and explaining things to us.
Thank you all very much for allowing me to. See you.
All right. Have a good evening. Okay, the next budget on the agenda is the clerk and master's office. And I don't think that Myra was going to be joining us tonight. I'm sorry. This budget is relatively flat, excluding pay raises and mandatory raises and benefits. Would anybody like to ask any questions or any comments for Justin? Justin can probably answer questions as good as anyone.
Yes, Mr. Cotton, are the mandatory raises, is that through the state, and were those off the table? Is that what the state said? So,
The mandatory raise would be in the 101 line, county official, administrative office official. And I have not been notified that they were removed, and I believe the session has ended. So I believe that I would have been notified by now that they had been removed.
right, I know there was some discussion of state raises mandatory being taken off the table, so I was just curious. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Director Cotton. I think we would have been notified by now since they have adjourned session. So we should have had that information. So my understanding, they're still in place. Are there any more questions or comments before I entertain a motion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve this budget as presented, excluding the non-mandatory raise.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ross. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Savage. Is there any discussion before we vote? If not, Commissioner Savage, please call the roll when you're ready.
Randy England,
Oh, no.
Randy England. Randy England,
Yes, sorry.
okay. Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ridley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Sorry, Tommy. Sorry, Tommy. I had my microphone turned off.
I thought it was me. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Savage. The next budget that we are going to review is the county court clerk, and I think Ms. Lisa Scott is with us tonight.
Yes.
Lisa, I didn't have a complete, I didn't have a final balance on this budget. Justin gave me a number that looks like this. He said that it's looking like 433,895.11. Is that correct?
Yes. I didn't have the Social Security and pension, insurance and all that, so I don't know that part of it.
Okay. It was 361, 475.11. And I think Justin figured that in. And Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, 433, 895.11.
That sounds correct. Yes.
Okay. Lisa, have you had a reduction in employees? You got a little bit of reduction in your budget this year.
Yes. Phyllis retired. I have
Okay.
not replaced her.
So you're close to a $20,000 reduction in your budget, looks like.
Yeah, I've added of them like the dues and memberships and postals, printing and stationery. I've increased on that a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Any questions for Lisa from the committee?
Ms. Scott, I noticed we don't have the, last year's, approved budget and line items. Did you have to turn one in last year? Cause,
Yes, I did one last year, not the year before.
okay. We don't have anything to compare it to, so it makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, last year there wasn't nothing to compare it to, but yes, I turned one in last time.
Commissioner Ross, I have that on email. And every line item is basically between 83 and 100% expenditure. There is, I think, data processing services, 22% of that had been used. Everything else is besides.
Everything else is the same as it was last year?
Unemployment compensation looks like it has, let's see, I'm scrolling back and forth, 210. Justin, 210, is that medical insurance or unemployment compensation?
210 is unemployment compensation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one that's set by that I calculated last year. Since they never had one, we went a little high on that one.
Okay. So it was the expenditure on that was 60.7%. There's about 40% of that remaining.
Yeah.
Okay, all in all, it looks like they're with the benefits added in, we're at 433, 985.11. And I would entertain a motion to approve this, excluding the non-mandatory raises.
I'll make that motion.
By Commissioner England, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Is there any more discussion?
Yes. My sheet has not got that on there. So I just want to make sure I get the numbers right. 433, 985.11.
Yes, the sheet will reflect, Tommy, 361, 475.11, and that is before Justin added the benefits in.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? Okay, whenever you're ready, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yeah. Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. The next budget that we're going to be considering is the circuit court clerk. And I believe Ms. Cantrell is here tonight.
I am.
Okay, glad to have you with us. It looks like that you also have a reduced budget this year.
I'm sorry, I have a what?
Your budget is reduced from last year.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have my children at home.
That's fine. That's fine. That's where they're supposed to be. That's just
Yep.
fine.
Okay.
Cassie, have you had a reduction in employees?
Well, I guess Bernie had an additional employee set aside in the event that I needed it. And now that I've been there a couple years, right now I don't feel like I need that extra employee. So I did take that extra salary out.
Okay.
And then I also, just to point out, I had a server that I had to purchase last year that was like a once every 5-year purchase that was roughly $20,000. that I did purchase, but I took out, obviously, because I don't need it this year.
Okay, and that was in, Justin, that's in 709, data and processing equipment.
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so this is approximately reduced by $7,000. I think I've been getting my cart before my horse. I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Savage. Okay, now we'll open the floor for discussion. I apologize. I think I've been doing the motion in second. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Ms. Cantrell?
Mr. Chairman, that is motion is assuming that we're waiting on the non-mandatory pay increases, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any discussion before we vote?
Thank you, Ms. Powell, for Ms. Cantrell for reducing where you could, and we sure do appreciate that.
You're welcome. I do try to only ask for what I really need.
Yeah, and it reflects that in the line item changes that you have down through there, and we appreciate that.
Ms. Cantrell,
Yes.
on the glass barrier, have you got any bids on that, or is that just an estimate?
I had the Martin and Glenn come out, and I had Scott Walker come out. And those are the two estimates that I used to provide that information. We want to rip out one countertop because it's not real. It doesn't work well, and where the countertop is, it's just not functional the way that it is, and where we have to have our printers and sort. So we want to kind of take that down, put up a straight countertop, and then put up some plexiglass that way.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? Okay, call the roll, please, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go whip them kids.
I'm sure I will.
Straighten up.
Okay, next budget under consideration is the county commission budget. And I think the only changes are the pay increases due to going from $25 to $30 for committee meetings. I'll let Justin speak to any of this that he could add.
I mean, that's really we did reduce dues and memberships by $5,000 since the county executive established a line item in his budget for that. That's, I think, really the only change. We dropped medical insurance, but that's due to less participation. I think that's really the gist of the changes.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve this.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Savage. Any discussion?
Do I hear somebody talk? Or are you ready to vote?
Justin, on the dues and memberships, are there multiple memberships there? And I'm sure that's county commissioners associations and whatnot. Are there multiple?
Yeah. I know the county commission membership dues is pretty extensive. And there may be one or two other smaller ones in there.
Okay, thank you.
I can look.
Okay. You can look now?
Yeah, I can look right now.
Okay.
It'd take me just a minute, depending on how well my computer wants to work. Our final number on that for this year, though, was $19,661. So it, and those dues do change a little bit.
Okay. That's
Yeah, we have Tennessee County Commissioners and the Upper Cumberland Development District dues are in there as well, that's actually the majority of it.
okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Is there any more discussion on this budget? Okay. If not, Tommy, would you please call the roll?
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, next budget is the Board of Equalization, and it is exactly the same as last year, $6,000. And I would entertain a motion to approve this.
Motion,
Motion by Commissioner Savage,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ross. Is there any discussion on this budget? Please call the roll, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, the next budget that we have before us is the county attorney's budget. Last year, 100,000 was budgeted, and the request this year is for 110,000. Would anyone like to speak to that budget? Justin, is that something that you'd like to comment on?
I can explain why it went over and why it's been increased. This is not just where we pay the stipend for the county attorney. We also pay for summonses, not summonses, but it is a summons. But when we do
Subpoenas.
tax sales,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we do tax sales and subpoenas, and as well as the title search information, because this is basically just the legal fees for the county. So it's the county attorney stipend plus legal fees associated with tax sales for the most part.
Okay. Justin, can you separate those, what the county attorney receives and those?
County attorney the county attorney's is $72,000 a year. He gets a $6,000 a month stipend, and then the rest of the other, what would that be? $35,000 was for title searches and subpoenas and summonses.
Okay. Historically, Justin, where have we been as far as budgeting that? Have we been close to 100 every year?
We have. We went over this year because we're doing a lot more work with the tax sales. Myra's getting ready for a big one, so that work's been going on all year, and we've spent quite a bit of money doing all that title work on those. And I'm looking at, we had 25. I mean, I'm looking at 35,000 just on that. So pretty much the entirety of the overage was for those title searches.
Okay, the county attorney's pay remains the same as last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Also, that tax comes back into the general fund too,
Yes.
sooner or later.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Ross. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner England. Anyone like to speak to that motion?
I didn't realize that the work on the tax sales, all that other stuff was, the 35,000 was added to it. I thought that was purely just the county attorney had done that much work, but that explains a lot. Thank you.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, please call the roll, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, I think that wraps up or already has wrapped up the budgets for all the guests that are with us tonight. If you all would like, we could take a 5-minute recess.
Yes, I would, please.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute, let's take a 4-minute recess. We'll go back to it at 8 o'clock. Okay, is everybody ready to continue?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the break.
I'm ready.
Okay, Commissioner Ross, you ready? We'll give Commissioner Ross just a minute.
I'm back.
Okay, I think that's everybody. Okay, the next budget on the agenda is the development budget. Justin, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, that's the county's contribution to the Joint Economic and Community Development Board. It's the last few years been $397, but we don't really get anything ahead of time, so it could go up a little. That's why we set it at 500.
Move to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Savage. Any more discussion? Call the roll, please, Tommy.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, the next budget is the Planning Commission, and that budget is also unchanged, $16,980. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Savage, and I will second that motion. Is there any discussion? If not, call the roll, please, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, the next budget is other economic and community development. And Justin and I spoke about this earlier. The contributions is the $20,000 that we have agreed to do to contribute for 3 years to the railroad. And Justin, I think the other two line items are the 3-star grant and the contracted services to pay the instructor.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Any discussion? Okay, call roll, please, Tom.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My phone was coming and going. Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Oh, I was on mute. I apologize.
Okay. All right.
I had a lot to say and nobody got to hear it. The next budget is other charges. That's 58,400. The only increase was building and contents insurance. The increase was $5,000. Everything else is flat. The total increase of the budget is $5,000 for a total of $590,000. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ross. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Savage. Is there any discussion? I'm sure Justin prepared this budget. If you've got any questions for him, I'm sure he can answer.
That was exactly the reason I seconded it, so we could have discussion and Justin to explain this, please.
Explain the increase, or you got any other line items you want me to speak to?
Just explain the Warren County other charges, in general.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, this is where we pay our insurances for the most part. I mean, 3 of them: building and contents, liability, and workers' comp. Judgments, we have a standing line item for reason. I think we had one leveled against us several years ago, and we've carried one ever since. And then this is where we pay the trustees' commissions for all general fund collections.
Okay. So it could actually be called an insurance fund in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Extra fees would be a good name for but they don't have a function code that fits that, so it kind of just catches up some of the stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else.
Okay.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
Who made that first motion?
I think
Commissioner Ross. Who made the motion?
I
Yes,
think,
Tommy, I did.
yeah, Commissioner Ross. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion? Call the roll, please, Tom.
Ben England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Rubley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you. The next budget is labeled miscellaneous. That's 58,900. And it is a flat budget. And Justin, if you would, I'll let you describe what is in what's in these line items.
Well, some of them are harder to. Other supplies and materials, I don't know. Honestly, this is has been unused this year. I kept it flat because it has been in the budget for years. If it needs to be removed, since it was unused, that probably wouldn't hurt anything at all. We have it. I would imagine that we'd have to have I'm not sure why we have a litter enforcement awards either. I mean, I guess in case the court orders an enforcement award, we have to have money to cover it, the right of ways, and it's pretty self-explanatory if we have to pay for right of way on someone's property. And the $599 is, let me see, that's where we pay our direct deposit bank fees. So every time the county makes a direct deposit, we have to pay a small fee for that, somewhere between $15 and $125. So that's where we pay for those out of $599.
So $499 was not used last year. Was it used the previous year, to your knowledge?
I would have to look. That won't take me just a second.
Okay. But there was nothing spent out of it last year, apparently, according to the budget.
No.
$0.
It was not spent, and there was no money used out of it 2 years ago either.
Okay,
So that I would imagine, I would say we would be safe removing this, and if it comes up, if the need arises, we can always revisit later in the fiscal year.
okay. Well, I would entertain a motion to approve this budget with the exception of the 30,000 and the line item 499, and that be removed.
I'll make that motion, removing line item 499 and making the total budget at $14,500.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Any more discussion?
Yes. This motion is to remove line item number 499. That would make this come down to 14.5.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
14.5.
Okay. Just for the record. Okay.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, Tommy, whenever you're ready, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, we got a few budgets that were excluded. Would you like to address those now, or do you want to go ahead? You want us to go ahead and cover debt service first?
I mean, if we want to stay in 101, that's fine. If we want to stay in the general fund, one that I could not find that had been reviewed, it was sent out in the original packets back in May, was the juvenile services, 53500. It is the only increase except for salaries in the budget is a $200 increase to postal charges. And if anyone cannot find their copy, I can go down the list of charges.
Justin, if you would, because I do not have that budget before me.
Okay. Would you like for me to read tell you the salary increases as well, or do you want me to just us leave them the same?
Are those mandatory increases?
They are not.
Okay. Okay, if you would, just
so
expenditures.
okay. Communications is $4,000, staying the same. Legal services is $100, staying the same. Postal charges is increasing from $1,300 to $1,500. Travel is increasing from $3,200 to $5,000. Other contracted services is staying the same at $12,000. Other supplies is increasing by $1,000 from $2,000 to $3,000. Other supplies and materials is remaining the same at $8,000. Other charges is remaining the same at $100. Data processing equipment is remaining the same at $1,500. So the total change in the budget, with the exception of salaries, would be $3,000.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Justin, what did you say?
I said the total change in the budget, with the exception of the salary request, is $3,000.
And that is an increase.
Yes. 200 in postage, 1,800 in travel, and 1,000 in office supplies.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cotton, what did you say their travel expenses was last year? What have they spent and what is it now?
Okay, you give me just a second, and I will get that for you. They did not include all of that. The request last year for travel. Did you say travel or office supplies? I'm sorry.
Travel.
Travel. Okay. They requested 3,200 last year, and they're requesting 5,000 this year. I'm sure that they did not get to spend much of that. They did spend 1,300 this year, but imagine they were like the rest of us, and they were grounded for at least a quarter of the year. But so they spent 41% of the 3,200 they requested last year.
Thank you.
Justin,
Yes.
could you explain the juvenile services, what their function is?
Yes. They both operate inside the juvenile court itself, and then they also operate the Kids of the Community program over on Cadillac Lane. So that they work in conjunction, and that's their primary service. Is they actually handle the court, like they're in court with the juveniles, and then they also do the Kids of the Community program to try and keep kids out of the judicial system later in life.
Sure.
Justin, what's the total budget request this year?
Well, they left off their give me just a second, I'll find it on my sheet where I've got they left off benefits. I'll have to go find it. Their total request is $244,799.04. Their request last year was $247,559. So they're actually asking for $800 less than they asked for last year. We have adjusted their. How does that work? Let me make sure I got that. We've removed quite a bit of medical insurance. So last year they had 15,000 in there for medical, and they only need about 4 this year. So that's why their request has gone down.
Okay. How many employees do they have, Justin?
I think they just have 2 full-time employees, and the rest are part-time. So they're no longer eligible for part-time employees are not eligible for insurance.
Okay.
Okay. Could you give me those numbers last year and this year, 247 and 244?
Yes. 247,559, and then 244,799.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, with that information, I hear a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Savage. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Anyone like to speak to the motion? Okay, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Rubley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage, vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, the next budget.
Judicial commissioners, it's number 53700. And I believe this is essentially a flat budget. The only increase that I can see on it is in medical insurance.
Looks like
And I'm not sure why they would, do that.
about $1,020 increase in medical insurance.
Yeah. And I don't, I'm not sure what happened there because it's $38.52 per person per year. So unless they're expecting a partial carryover or something, I would imagine that 11,556, which they had last year, is a full 3 people.
Mhm.
So unless they're expecting a partial at some point in the year, I believe that number would stay the same, and that's normally assigned afterwards anyway.
Okay, so you're saying that the 11,556 should be enough for the 3 full times.
It should, yes.
Okay. All right. Is there any discussion concerning this budget?
I'll tell you, the judicial commissioners program for the last nearly 2 years, I don't think they've had a turnover, and we're coming up on the 2nd year. And when I first came on the county commission, it was a revolving door.
Yeah.
And they're doing a good job. And you've seen, it was on the front page of the Standard all the time as one problem after another. And it's running good. And through this COVID-19 thing, they've had to use all the precautions, and a lot of people didn't like it, but they have worked through it and done a good job. I'd make a motion to accept this.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Savage. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner England. Any discussion?
I have something.
Okay.
Last year they had requested the line 307 be added, the 2520. That's and the way they come to that number is it's $30 per judicial commissioner per month. They wanted to be able to pay that to their employees to offset their expenses. And it's taken me a little while to get a straight answer. And it was so late in the year that we didn't bother dealing with it in the previous fiscal year. But the simplest way for us to help and justify giving extra money to these judicial commissioners for communications is to give them an additional raise of whatever the dollar amount is, since they cannot prove that they are actually incurring additional expenses and have any way of separating those expenses from their personal phones. And they don't want to carry a county issued phone because then they're carrying 2 or 3 phones each, if that makes sense.
So what you're saying is they're using their personal phones.
They are.
They are.
Okay.
And lots of times, they have to contact one another. Somebody will be off duty and they'll have to call one of the supervisors about something, and they'll have to look it up on their phone, and they just wouldn't be able to function without their phones. And it's really, and lots of times they look up stuff on their phones. The computer's already tied up. They need to look up something. They look it up on their phones.
Okay, so Justin, what you're saying is 307 communication was a line item put in place to compensate them for their personal cell phone use?
Yes, but unfortunately, we're just not allowed to just write them a vendor check.
Okay.
Since the county's giving it to them as an employee, it has to be run through payroll, and we couldn't adjust the payroll. We couldn't adjust their salary and payroll line without going through the full process. And by the time we got to that, it was too late in the year for it to really be effective.
Okay. So this line really, your opinion, needs to be removed.
Yes. And if we want to compensate them for their phones, it would need to be rolled into the two salary lines.
Okay, would that be a relatively simple process if we wanted to roll that into those salary lines?
Yes.
Okay. And that is for 3 employees?
Oh, no, it is for all of them, I
Yeah.
believe. Let me do that math real quick.
Mr. Cotton, will that affect the Social Security and things like that we pay out if it's going into their,
It will.
Pay that way?
We'll have to pay 7.65% of that to the federal government for their additional FICA, and then the 3 full-timers will have to pay 11% of that to TCRS. But even if we did it all,
yeah, if memory serves right from last year, that's why we had that additional line item so that we didn't have to pay.
yes. But then by the time we got clarification on whether that we could not pay, we ended up getting clarification that we should not pay them that way.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've not got,
I think, Commissioner Savage, we had a motion and a second.
okay, I've
To-
not got my sheet on it, but in their budget, it includes a raise. Do we need to exclude those raises?
No, they didn't include the raise in their in the actual budget request. That was just in the explanations at the bottom. They were requesting one, but it was not reflected in the actual dollar amount of their budget.
Okay. Like I said, I ain't got my sheet in front of me. That paper
I
can't get to
apologize.
it.
Mr. Cotton, I noticed under
Yes.
in-service training, they've only spent 600 of 3,500. Do you know?
Yeah.
anything about that?
COVID.
Yeah, they were like me. They could not go to their big training. They missed a lot of their training opportunities because of they had to do them online instead of go to them like they would normally do. So they did not get to travel for the normal trainings. Everything got busted because of COVID.
Gotcha. I'm sorry if I'm repeating some of these questions. I was looking for my sheet. And under medical insurance, did you explain that already? I'm so sorry.
I did. I don't know why that got increased. I know that we are expecting an increase in premiums, but that will not affect the county side of the insurance. That may have been why that got in there.
Okay, thank you.
Just me guessing.
Justin, line up that so I can write it down for the using the cell phones.
It's 307.
Okay, what does it say? Like I said, I've not got my sheet with me here.
Communication.
Okay,
Communication.
Yes, and the dollar amount is $2,520.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Savage, we did have a motion and a second, correct?
We do. I made the
Okay.
motion. Mr. England made the second.
Okay, we're probably, if we make these changes, we're probably going to have to rescind that motion and second. I think the motion and second was as it was presented.
Okay, did we change anything?
Well, if we remove this line item for communication and put it in salaries, it's going to have to be changed.
All right.
we need to do that, I'll rescind my second.
I'm writing, just a second.
Okay.
I'd like to rescind my,
Uh-oh. Commissioner Savage, his connection may be weak right now. I think there he is. But
I'm still on.
yep, you are. But you said you rescind your motion.
Yeah, motion
Okay.
and second,
And
rescinded.
Commissioner England rescinded his second. Okay. Justin, did you come up with the figure? What is that going to be per employee? 307 if we move it to salaries? Or I think
$360.
okay.
It'll be, yeah.
So if we need to move that line item, and Justin, your opinion, we can keep the medical insurance at the same 11,556. And I know
Yes.
we can amend that later if there's some situation that they do have a part-time that we don't know about. We can amend that later. So I will make the motion to approve this budget, moving the entire line item 307, that balance to that would go to 101, correct?
Yes.
Move that 2520 to 101 and change the medical insurance request to 11,556 and everything else as presented. I'll make that motion.
Move it and change the medical insurance to what?
11,556, and the request this year is 12,672. And 11,556 would be exactly what it was last year, approved in the budget.
Okay, change medical insurance 11,556.
Mm-hmm.
What was you say the total number was?
I'm sorry, Tommy. What did you say?
What did you say on the last?
That their request, the proposed budget is 12,672, but that would be 11,556 would be exactly what it was last year. That's what was approved last year.
Okay. Okay, let me read this again. Motion to approve moving 307 to 101 and change medical insurance to 11,556.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, is there a total on the whole budget? What does that change that total to?
I think that would just reduce it $1,020.
It would be, well, hang on, let me make sure my sheet's not automatically calculating stuff.
$70. Justin, I've got 177, 962, 32, but I don't know if benefits are going to change my tally.
Oh, well, yeah, mine's not auto doing benefits, but let me get it here just a second. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, now it makes more sense. Yeah, I got 179, 192, 32. Mine is not automatically doing benefits. Give me just a second. I'm gonna do the. I'm gonna manually do the. Okay. Okay, I got it. So it would change the Social Security.
Justin, if 179, 192, 32 is the final balance, that's actually an increase from what.
Well, we're gonna get a slight increase due to the.
Even with the reduction of the medical.
I'm going to go through, looks like that, yeah, there's an extra line in here, other salaries per diem, which they've not really addressed. It's the second from the bottom line, if you have it, at $1,230 doesn't appear to be included in their last year's budget or in any calculations that are being presented.
So that was excluded from the actual proposed total.
Oh, wait, let's see. Yeah. Let me manually run. I'm going to rekey check their last year's figures. No, it was included in their last year's budget. I don't see it on here. I'm not seeing it in their actual expenditure report. So
Doesn't look like they spent it.
No, they didn't report. It's not on the report if they did.
Also,
Yeah.
communication, it's not showing on my paper, showing what they spent to date.
Yeah, they did not spend any of the communication. Okay.
Is the
I
communication?
was incorrect when I told Commissioner Savage that they had not included the dollar raise per employee because the approved budget for last year was 129, so it was $6,000 less. The previous year's budget total was 167,331. They have included a dollar raise per employee, so we can take that out. After looking back at what's on.
Was there anything else that will that affect the Social Security that they're projecting?
Yes.
There, okay.
Yeah. That seems to be properly reflected of what they were expecting to spend there.
I'm sure it's just a mistake on their part that it says it's the approved budget from last time.
Yes. Yeah. They basically, it's the same one in both columns. They didn't. Okay. So.
And
if you leave the salaries the same.
I'm also curious about the medical insurance. It's $11,556, but it looks like they've only spent $6,420 of it. Am I reading that right, or?
Well, that was what they expected to spend. It looks like they spend about half of their medical insurance. It looks like one employee had it all year, and then they had somebody pick it up partway through the year.
So next year, this coming year, it may be more.
Yeah, they may need all three this year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we want to remove the requested raise, which was not in we remove the requested raise, then the total budget would be still going up. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out where the increases are.
Let's see.
Yeah, if we remove the raise that they request, the dollar raise they requested, the entire budget is going to go up by the amount of the Social Security and Medicare on the 25-20.
$179.
Explain that again. How is it going to go up if you're removing it? What?
Well, no, if you remove the raise, the dollar raise that they requested, which is not reflective in the difference between the approved column and the proposed column, you take the dollar raise per employee out, and then you put the 25-20, we move that into salaries, then the change will be the 500 and something dollars that is benefits on the two budget, that money.
I see.
Okay, Justin, and if we reduce that medical insurance to 11,556, did you include that in your calculations?
I did.
Okay, and the total for that budget would be what?
The way it's looking right now, 169, 681, 79.
169, 681, 79. Okay. So there's a little less. There's about a $1,700 increase from last year.
Yes.
And we still don't know what line 189 is for. And it
It
has,
says per diem. That's yeah, I don't know what that is. That is a new request, and unfortunately, David's because I just noticed this one today. David is not on the call, so I do not know what he is asking for in that one. He did not include that in his explanation at the bottom.
Other salaries per diem.
I believe he has that down as I don't know. Never mind. I will.
it's awfully hard for me to want to give that when there's no explanation. I just don't know what it is.
Well, we can remove that and amend it at a later time if it's something that is a necessity. And I would feel
Very well
better.
might be a necessity. I just,
Right, and I feel better removing it now and adding it later after we get some information on it than I would just approving it, not knowing what it is or where it's going.
yes, sir, I agree.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Commissioner Savage, do we have a motion and a second again, once again?
Yes, we had a motion second.
Okay, that motion. I know that motion was
Can we
to.
amend the original motion?
Yes, we can do that.
I make a motion to amend the original motion to remove line 189 from the budget.
And the $1 raise.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, what?
Sorry, just and the $1 raise, or is it?
And the $1 raise.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
Are we including this into the
This,
motion?
this is an amendment to the original motion.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, who made this motion here?
Commissioner Ross made a motion to amend that. And that was removing the total of line 189, which is $1,230, and the $1 raise. And I will second that motion.
Okay,
Okay, we're voting on the amendment. Is there any more discussion before we vote? Okay, call the roll, please, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Yes. Motion
Okay.
carries 4-0.
Okay, we're back on the original motion with the amendment approved. Is there any more discussion before we vote on the original motion? And this motion is to approve reducing the line item 207 to 11,556 and moving the 2520 in salaries to 101, which is county official and administration. Is there any more discussion? Okay, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Savage. Justin, is there another one that you had that you wanted to? Yes, okay.
Yeah, we got one more. Well, we got three more, but two of them are super easy.
Okay.
Veteran services. Let me get it open here. It is going down
Okay.
somehow. Like, it will be a flat budget. It would be a flat budget for some reason. It was submitted with a decrease in salary, so it would be a flat budget with the supervisor director making $17,559. The Social Security would be applied to that. There'd be $100 of unemployment compensation, the same $1,524 for communication, and the same $5,806 for other charges.
Okay, and the total of that budget, what?
26,323.
And the salary decrease was a typo, correct?
Yes, I would assume so. I mean, I could go in and check to see what he is making, but just because he has the money in his budget doesn't mean that he gets a raise.
Right.
He cannot give himself a raise
Okay.
if it is not a typo.
Okay. Okay. And I know we've addressed that earlier with another budget. There was a mistake on it.
Yeah.
And it was the director's. It wasn't your fault. So that's you say this is a flat budget.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
26,323.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And this is veteran service that we're voting on. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Tommy, who made the original motion?
I did, Chairman Rubley.
Okay, thank you. I didn't hear you. Thank you. Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Ross, a second by Commissioner Savage. Is there any more discussion? And again, this is the Veteran Services budget, and it is a flat budget at 26,323. Okay, if no more discussion, please call the roll, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, what's next?
Okay, next one is 58500 contributions to other agencies. And this is dues for the chamber. It's $5,500.
And Justin, I think we discussed this earlier today, that has been unchanged. That's exactly the same as it was last year, correct?
It is. I have been given no indication that the dues will be going up. But yes, it has been the same for the last 3 years.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Anybody want to speak to that motion?
You say this was dues for the chamber?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if no more discussion, Tom, if you would please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
And I did just look that up. That's been unchanged since 1718 at least. So, okay, moving on to the next one. Justin.
Last one. It's a doozy. Let me tell you, it's a doozy.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so this is brand new. We've never done this one before. Tommy, the number would be 51910. And it's
Oh.
preservation of records.
Preservation of records.
Yes. And it would be function. The object code would be 599. Other charges. It'd be $500.
And Justin, this is a new line item, correct?
Correct. I was gonna let Tommy get it all written down, then I'd answer any questions y'all got on it.
All right, that 51910.
Yes.
Okay.
Justin, what is this exactly?
This is for, we have to have a county archivist on staff due to records maintenance. They do not have a line item. They also don't get paid. It's a voluntary position, but they do have to be certified.
I see. Oh, I know what this is now. I know what it is now.
Yeah.
I forgot.
We gotta have a line item in place in order for them to apply for grant. So we are going to, they have to be county funded. So this is giving them $500 of county funding. I will say since July 1st, they have already received a $100 donation. It has been deposited with the trustee to help offset this cost. So we've got $100 in deposit already. This is going to cost us $400. So they can start applying for grants so that they can get some money from the state and through some other organizations.
I move to approve this.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Justin, my understanding is, and I think yours was as well, that these grants will not be match grants.
Correct.
Okay.
If they are, we always have the opportunity to say no.
Right. It's something that would go through financial management. So, okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, if not, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, I think that brings us to debt service. If I've stayed on my agenda. Let's see, chamber views, check, historic, check.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. I think Mr. Cotton said that was the end of the budgets. At what point, I don't believe we've done it yet. When do we look at nonprofits?
That is correct, Commissioner Ross. That's something that we do need to address. And that is, find my budget.
And you may have been going to address that, and I jumped the gun.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We were going to address it. And I have misplaced my budget. I think I have found it now. And the nonprofits will be on, Justin emailed this out today. And I think, Justin, it was labeled budget book on that file.
It was.
Correct? Okay. And
It was, yeah.
That would be on page 19. That is numbered at the bottom. And it looks like that takes up pretty much the entire page.
Yeah, it should be the only thing on that page.
Okay.
I will say there is one nonprofit not included in that page, and it is the Rescue Squad. Since it is not part of the general fund, it is listed separately, but I can supply that number.
Okay, Justin,
when
that's
we get there.
with the ambulance service. Is that correct?
Yes, it's with the ambulance service.
Okay.
It has its own line.
Okay, this was reviewed by the Policy and Rules Committee. And Justin, the grand total for that was 130. Oh my gosh, I don't have my notes with me. Could you tell me what the grand total in charitable contributions was?
76, I think.
Yeah, give me just a second.
That sounds right.
If you include the ones in general fund, if you include the library, it's $452,600. The library is a big chunk of that.
Okay.
That also includes the emergency 911 district, which we already reviewed in this committee, I believe.
Yes, we did. Yeah, that's correct. That was
that 160,000 is in there as well. So
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know that a lot of these non-for-profits didn't get a chance to address the other committee, and I'm certainly disappointed that we had to do things this way tonight so that they couldn't get their voice out there to talk about their their position, but I know that some have gotten money they didn't request. And if we could look at that or have any interest in looking at that, I certainly would like to do that. Where I think you had money left over from the Sister City program, and it was kind of doled out between some that hadn't asked for additional monies.
Okay.
And I know that the chamber was cut quite drastically, and I'm not suggesting that, I mean, I would like to suggest that you give the monies, that we move that from the ones that was doled out that didn't ask for it. They're all deserving, each and every one of them. But just, I will say and go on record, I was not a fan of the blanket approval because they didn't get to have their platform to talk about what they wanted to do and do with their money. And I would also like to suggest that we have maybe next year have a more accountable way to look at what they do with the money than we currently have.
Yeah, understand. And I intend to bring that up to the legislative committee. I think we need to have at least if not quarterly, semi-annual reports from these nonprofits, just at least explain to the commission where this money is going and how it's being spent.
Yes, sir.
And Commissioner Ross, I don't have my notes before me concerning that meeting, but I know that Habitat for Humanity was one of those nonprofits that you referred to.
Mm-hmm.
Can you label the others?
I believe it was like books from Burt. It was something to do with the books.
I got the list of the ones that received the Sister Cities money was split $2,000 to Governor's Books from Birth, $2,000 to Cheer, and $1,000 to Families in Crisis. I believe I have that right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr.
That was in addition
to what they had asked. That was over what they had asked.
No, it was in addition to what they were. No, no one exceeded what they were asked for. That just exceeded what they received last year. Because Cheer got 2,000 more this year than last year, which put them at their full 6,000 request. Families in Crisis received 5,000 last year, requested 6, and the extra 1,000 put them at their full amount.
Okay. All very deserving. They're all extremely deserving, and they do wonderful things for this community. And I wish we could give each and every one of them more. I just would like for them to have had their chance to get their message out when they were to go before the committee. And even this one, of course, we couldn't help this one, but I just wanted to express that I was not a fan of the blanket approval of that because it denied them the need to get out their message. Is that's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Ross. Now 4, 5, and 6, Families in Crisis, Governor's Books from Birth, and Habitat for Humanity. Is that the only 3?
Yeah, Habitat got. I didn't take the notes on who got the 15 because they removed 15,000 from Chamber. 10 of it went to Habitat, and the other 5 went to the Warren County Black History Museum.
Okay. Let's see. And Commissioner Ross, I agree that we do need more oversight with these nonprofits. If they are willing to put the effort forth to ask and propose that we give them a donation, I think they should be willing to come, like I say, quarterly or biannually, and at least give us a report and let us know where the majority of the money that we're giving them goes. And I will be bringing that up to the legislative committee, and we'll go from there and see if that's something that they would like to put in the rules or if that's something that we would just request through budget and finance.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubley. I feel like we'll be doing our a better job at doing our due diligence and being stewards of the county's money if we can see exactly what our money's going for and how they're using it. And I'm sure they're using it wonderfully, but I just would like to be able to see that a little better.
Right, right. Okay. Justin, we did approve this through Budget and Finance last year, correct?
We did.
Okay. Okay. Well, with that, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner England. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay. If not, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ridley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, we are to debt service. That's the next thing on my agenda, and I will let you explain the numbers there.
Okay. If you look at the page that came just after debt service and what I sent out, I went through the debt service book. It might be small. I don't know if you'll be able to read it.
It is, it's microfilm.
Okay. Well, what I did is I went through each one of the debt issues that we've got, and I broke them down into the account where we should pay them this year. And we don't have anything being joined together or moved around, so it should be straightforward. We shouldn't have to touch this anymore the rest of the year. So we got 3 core bonds that are being handled by schools or for school projects, and then a note for the schools, and then the 2 county bonds that we've got outstanding. And it's, I mean, as a whole, the debt service is looking real good right now.
It looks like from, I just did some quick calculations that we have grown at least 247, near almost 248,000 in that.
Yes, and we'll grow.
Estimated
we'll grow
next year.
Yeah, and those, the only ones that are really estimates are the ones in the what's the 82310, where we pay for bank charges and trustees commissions. Those are the only real estimates in there. The rest of that's pretty set in stone.
Okay.
But I mean, this year and next year we will see growth in the fund, and then after May 30th, 2022, we should see a large reduction if we don't have any new issues.
Yeah, I think
that's when our 2010 issues die. When they settle.
I think interest in principal rises to about 4.5 next year, and then let's see, no, maybe that's the 4.3, and then drops back to 3.5 for about 3 consecutive years. So with that refinance, I know that's gonna help us out a lot too. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Justin, the original jail project is what's coming off of this, the improvement project.
Yes, the original jail project, the original jail project, and one of the school projects.
Okay. All right. So that a pleasant surprise that we have grown a little bit in debt services. We gained a little there, and I think that it was unexpected that we were going to grow that much, but that is a good thing. Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve this fund report.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Ross. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion concerning this budget before you can ask Justin any questions? feel free to ask him any questions that you have.
Was that Mr. England? Second that.
I made the second. If Randy didn't at the same time, there's a possibility we overlapped one another.
Okay. I think I was going to sleep. Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Justin? Any more discussion? Okay. If not, please call the roll, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
and Tommy Savage. He votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, that is all that I have under the new business. Is there any, have we covered all the budgets to your
To
understanding?
my knowledge, yes. As far as all of my check sheet looks like we've got everything.
Okay. Okay. There's one budget that I would like to review, which we have already approved, and I have received some information since then that has changed my position on that, which is the county executive's budget. We approved that budget with $20,000 of IT funding in there, and I have talked to several of the department heads, and it is now my opinion that $20,000 is not necessary in that budget. And I will open the floor for discussion. Anybody that would like to comment on that?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, are you saying that the other departments take care of their own data or data?
Yes, that's correct. Most everyone that I talked to said that it was pretty insignificant, the charges that were incurred. They had some departments had some hardware issues, and when they did, if it was something that was relatively inexpensive, they just replaced it, and it was probably cheaper to do that than to ask for IT assistance or any repair work. So for the most part, everybody that I talked to said that charge was very insignificant, and it was coming out of their fund.
And you're proposing we take that?
Yes, that's my proposal, is that we remove that 20,000.
Mr. Chairman, and these are the
Yes.
public information offices also, so there's
Yes.
no threat, or is there a threat of,
Well, my impression of this is that all of this is public knowledge anyway, and I don't think most of the software is from a provider, and when there is a software issue, then the software provider typically takes care of those issues.
Thank you.
What I heard, it was most of the time these things cost $25 an hour, and it would take like 800 hours to use this 20,000.
That's correct. We kind of checked around, and average around here for IT work is somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 an hour, and that's correct. That would take 800 hours of IT work to consume that much money, that $20,000.
Working almost half a year.
Yes. Yeah. So with that, I would make a motion to approve that budget with the removal of the 20,000.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner England. Is there any more discussion? If not, Tommy, please call the roll.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much a wrap. Justin, Justin, have you been keying in all of this as we go along? Are you pretty much ready, or do you need a little?
I am pretty much ready, yes.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
while he's keying in there, I want to make a comment about Commissioner Savage being our secretary. He has done a fine job, and I'm so glad he's doing it, not me. But he's doing a fine job, and our notes have been spot on. And Tommy, I do appreciate you.
I echo Mr. England's sentiments, all of them. I'm so thankful that you're doing it. You're doing a wonderful job. And I'm also glad it's not me, but you're doing a wonderful job, Tommy. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, y'all are so corny.
That puts me in a pretty tight position, Tommy. I'm going to
You're
have to
saying like-
agree.
Pat him on the back and he'll keep on doing it.
Well,
And we
it's
still
gonna-
want a free watermelon.
Well, you'll have plenty of watermelons and corn too.
That's what I want, some corn.
The corn's looking better than watermelons.
Commissioner Savage,
I'll give you that.
it's going to be my recommendation that you are the note keeper for all the committees next year.
What?
I second that.
I've already got one on building and grounds when we ever had to start having meetings. That's what Richard was doing. So yeah, I'll have to get me some more ink pens.
Okay.
I write a lot.
Yeah, and you do a good job. We do appreciate the notes that you keep. They're very.
Y'all are very good about repeating things, and you know, a lot of people think, boy, it takes things forever. But I try to make sure that I get it down right. And even when you try to do it right, sometimes you're going to mess up. And if I ever mess up, it's not intentionally, I promise.
Justin, you just let us know when you are ready to give us a fig.
All right. Well, which figure do we want?
Well, I'm assuming that now there have been some changes. I know you sent us a budget book, but that since there have been some changes, where are we going to be on the bottom line?
All right. Bottom line, we're as far as in what we got to look for is make sure we get our 12% or 10% fund balance. Since that's our fund balance policy. Right now in the general fund, we're looking at finishing the year at 11.63%, which is it gives us a nice cushion. We'll be at 28% in 116 sanitation, 25% in ambulance, 118, 79% in the drug fund, 122, 22% in highway, 13% in the school systems, GP, and 52% in food service. And we are very, very healthy as far as, well, we're not looking for the same thing in debt service, but we've got 248% of our expenditures in there, but that's collateral for debt. So that's not the same.
Okay. And Justin, we spoke earlier today, there is going to have to be an issue addressed with the highway department.
Yes, we do need to talk about shuffling some pennies around. And I believe that, yes, those numbers I was giving you were based on my figures to get us in compliance with the 5-year average for the highway. The budget book I sent out, I don't recall if that was before or after I was trying to get the highway in line with our maintenance of effort there. But when we got the certified tax rate, came back at 196.77. What I did was take and even that out to try and get everyone as close to the same amount of money or the same percentage that they got last year, since it's a revenue neutral reallocation. And after doing that, we needed to move 0.0014 pennies into the highway fund in order to meet our maintenance of effort requirement. After some discussion and looking at the highest fund balance percentages, I took 0.0005 from sanitation and 0.001 from ambulance and moved that money to make up, or maybe it was 0.09 from 0.0009 from ambulance. In order to keep them even, as close to even as we could, based on what they were given in order to meet our 5-year average for the highway.
And Justin, the equivalent of that percentage of penny moved is going to be about $9,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're looking at
we were about $8,000. We were $8,000 shy of our 5-year average for the highway, and we can't move more than 0.10 of a penny, so, or 0.10 of a dollar. So that's where we ended up.
Okay. So that's going to be about 4,500 from sanitation and 4,500 from the ambulance service.
It would be more like 3,000 from sanitation and 6,000 from ambulance.
Okay.
Because I took about twice as much from ambulance as I took from sanitation because ambulance gets twice as much property tax.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, those percentages were 0.005 from sanitation and 0.009 from that.
Yeah, there's 3 zeros there.
Yep, 0.0005. That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I got it. So this does include us keeping enough in the fund balance. It was the 10% getting by at least a month without any income, right? That the state requires.
Yes. 1 month is 8.83%, I believe. It's 8.3%. And that's the state requirement. Our county, I've since last year learned that, almost every county was required to pass the fund balance policy, and the one that was most widely used was 10%. So we have to maintain a 10% fund balance for our own policies. If not, then we have to do extra reporting and some other stuff. But yes, this will keep us above that. We'll be 1.6% above our required amount.
Good job.
Okay, Justin, we need to vote on this, on these pennies being shifted. I'm assuming we need to do that for.
Well, we need to vote on the tax rate.
Okay.
And the allocation. The penny allocation was never actually set. I just tried to keep it as close as possible.
Okay.
I would recommend us voting on the proposed tax rate. I probably did not include that in the book I sent y'all. I apologize. That was another page that had what you wouldn't have been able to read it. It's tiny. But I can read those off to you in order if you would like.
Okay. Is everyone ready to write?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready, Justin.
Okay, so it would be 0.9114 in the general fund.
Okay.
0.0696 in sanitation.
Okay.
0.1306 in ambulance.
Okay.
0.0715 in highway,
Okay.
0.6208 in GP schools,
In the what?
General purpose. school.
general purpose schools. Sorry. Fell into my office talk. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then 0.1638 in general debt service.
And with that, that's keeping it as close to where it was last year as possible.
Yes.
Okay.
And those numbers should add up to 1.9677.
That's not very far from where we were year before last. I think we were 19661 for several years.
Yep.
And what was it last year, Justin?
224. I have to, let me see if I got another page open. I might have that. I'm sorry, I slept a little. 224.64.
So would that mean the tax rate is going down?
Yes, it went down during reappraisal. We got the certified tax rate from the
Yes.
state because of reappraisal.
Gotcha.
And we do it. The process for changing the reassessed tax rate is onerous.
Yes. Yes. I understand. So we're pretty well even with last year, like Chairman Ridley said.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the tax rate.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ross,
Second.
second by Commissioner England. Okay, anyone want to speak to that motion? Okay, if not, Tommy, please call the roll.
Okay. Randy England,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ridley,
Yes.
Tommy Savage votes yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Justin, what do you want to do next? You want to go with, you want to work on raises, consider the balance?
I think that raises may be the only thing we have left to discuss.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Justin, I was on mute. Justin, I think with the amount of employees that we're looking at about, we discussed earlier today, about every quarter is about $500, and I know that depends on their work schedule. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. I am working on, give me just a few seconds and I can tell you how much how much that'll cost each fund. Like the general fund, a 25-cent raise, $500, almost $500 a person, would cost the general fund $155,248. Roughly. That includes full-time benefits, Social Security and retirement and stuff. So.
Okay. And I know we discussed this earlier, but we would, if we were, and I'm not proposing a $500 raise or $1,000 raise or a $10,000 raise, but what we discussed earlier, we're really going to be cutting it close on our fund balances if we were to go beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just looking at the raw numbers, well, yeah. Yeah, let's see. A 25-cent raise would leave us about $600,000 in flexibility space as far as the fund balance goes in the general fund.
Yeah. Considering the revenues come in as projected.
Yeah. Yes, that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I know this committee knows we excluded all non-mandatory raises, and we decided to wait till the end for this very reason, just to see how much money was remaining. I emailed Justin, as well as all of the commissioners that are on the Budget Finance Committee, some information today. I have been speaking with Ben Rogers with CTAS, and I know that in the past, the offices that were operating under what we call the fee system are now operating under what we consider the budget or salary system. That's what they are labeled under Tennessee code. And with that, now the Budget and Finance Committee has the authority to set those pay scales in those offices that were once fee offices. And this has caused some controversy for several years because some people felt like they were being treated unfairly because some of the fee offices had paid their employees more, or they didn't feel like they were getting just compensation. Well, the fact that they are now what we consider under the budget or salary system, that now that we review their budgets, we do have the authority to set those budgets. And it has always been my opinion that these raises need to be consistent across the board, even though these fee offices are now not technically under fees, but they're operating under the budget or salary system. They still would have to have a letter of agreement signed with the county executive, but we now have the authority to decide what their pay is excluding their mandatory increases. Those mandatory increases that are dictated by the state, we don't have anything, any involvement in that. That's something that's mandated by the state, and that's something that we have to do. But the other employees that are considered non-mandatory increases, we now do have the authority to set those pay raises. And as Justin said, we're right now, if we're looking at 25-cent raise, that's about $500 annually. And looks like we do have the flexibility to do that, considering that revenues come in the way that we anticipate. I know this is a unprecedented year and we don't know what we're looking at next year. I know revenues have come in this year really well. And I'm sure glad. I was afraid toward the end of that quarter that things were going to start coming up short, but looks like we have had an exceptional year with revenues and that we're on track. And I will open this up to discussion. We'll discuss this. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to what's been said?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
some of those budgets that went through from the fee offices included raises. Would they be taken back out?
The non-mandatory raises. And
Yeah.
we made a motion early in the budget process that any of the non-mandatory raises would be excluded till the end.
Okay. Okay, Justin, have you adjusted for that?
I think, Tommy, that motion was made in the first meeting when we met at the budget and at the building.
Yeah, I remember that. I've got that in my notes, but I'm asking Director Cotton, has he adjusted the overall budget for that to take out what raises were requested by the non-mandated raises?
Justin, if you're speaking, we're not hearing what you're saying.
I apologize. Thank you. If I have not had a chance to amend it, but I would say that we could go back and I could quickly look, but I think that we're only talking about $15,000 or $20,000 worth of requested raises for the 4 or 5 fee offices that would apply. Because none of them have. I think the highest one was $1,500 a person, and they only asked for it for 3 or 4 people. So I mean, if we look at it like that, it's $4,500 or $6,000 per office, and there's only 5 of them. If I'm remembering correctly, which I did not have. Let's see. I believe the highest staffed office is Cassie's, is the circuit court. And let's see. We did it tonight. I find it. See, there's 15. That went down. Yeah, one of the most, as far as high volume staffed offices, her request only went up $4,500 due to raises. So I would make the statement that the fee office raises currently being included in my figures should not affect the entire outcome if we're only looking at doing a 25-cent raise. If we were looking at a 75-cent raise, we'd be a lot closer to our 10%, but I don't feel like that theirs is going to should affect this decision, because they will actually be pulling this number down, because we're not going to get anywhere near the 75-cent raise it would require to hit a $1,500 per employee raise.
Okay.
Mr. Cotton, I have a question. Does that also, will that affect, were there any raises at the highway department? And if so, will that affect those?
They are not a fee office. They are I do not believe, I believe that the highway is like the school system. I do not think we're allowed to line item that one. But I may be wrong.
That has been my understanding as well, Justin. We're not allowed to tamper with that by line item.
That's right. I'm on the highway and bridge. That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, highway and schools would not be affected. I do not recall, Levy, if he included raises for his general staff in his budget or not. It was not brought up during discussion to my
Justin,
I just can't remember.
there were a couple of reassignments of duties to truck drivers, and I think there was one increase on line item that increased, I think $10,000. And the reason being is I think he said that employee was hired mid-year and that they received their full compensation. But if it was, I don't remember. I don't recall if it was.
Okay. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is there any more discussion? And like I say, we're not, what we looked into this. I looked into this. I'll take the blame for all of this, but I did look into this, and we've had issues in the past of this is not fair, that's not fair, and we want to treat all the employees in the county fairly. And I sent Tommy the email today, and Christy and Cole and Randy, and this was simply forwarded from CTAS, and it was not just an opinion. It was actually Tennessee code. So that's where we are, and this is the way that, according to Ben Rogers, this is the way it should be done, and so that's where we are. Like I say, Justin has said that a 50-cent raise is going to put a pretty good strain on the budget. A quarter we can handle, providing that revenues come in this coming year. We're in an unprecedented time in this country. We don't know what the revenues are going to be like next year. I'm hoping that everything's going to be great, but we've seen some things that nobody's ever seen in their lifetime. And I'm just really concerned that next year we could be in a pinch.
That reminds me, Chairman,
yes, sir.
We did not readdress the election. Speaking of TTA, that reminded me of the state.
That's correct, Director Coffman.
That is $312,000. There's $312,000 there that we could possibly remove, and that would give us a little more space in the budget.
And my understanding is that she had requested about a $20,000 increase in supplies.
Yes.
And I apologize. I should have brought that up, and I think I had it on my list of things to do, and I just overlooked it. But to clarify, and that was 312. Is that correct, Justin?
312,800. Yes, 312,800.
312. 312,800. Okay, and I think everybody is on the same page with this. But basically, what that was Susie didn't know and wouldn't know until the legislature convened whether or not we were going to be mandated to purchase some new voting equipment. Voting machines, my understanding, and sometimes the state compensates for that, reimburses, and sometimes they don't. We had no idea which was going to be the case or if they were going to mandate, but now that the legislature has convened, it is Susie's impression that they will not be mandating the purchase of these machines, and that $312,800 is no longer necessary in her budget. But she spoke with Justin. And in speaking to Justin, this is going to be an unprecedented election cycle. I know there's some things that are having to be addressed for the first time, and to budget for that with nothing to go on is a little bit trying. But Susie has asked. She anticipates that she's going to have a shortfall in a supplies budget, and that is specifically for the election itself. I spoke with her earlier. She's going to have to buy hand sanitizer and possibly gloves and masks and disinfectant for the machines. And she's going to have additional staff, which that doesn't have anything to do with the supplies line item. But after after reviewing and assessing that a little bit more, she has decided that she is going to probably come up short. Justin, was it, I think you said maybe 12 to 16,000. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, last I spoke with her about it, she was really just grasping at straws on what it's going to be, because it's just they're just constantly adding more and more stuff that they're going to have to buy. PPE, they're going to have disposable stuff to hand out to everybody who comes into the election sites. She just said it just keeps growing.
Right. And I know she had added some things to the budget. She'd added employees, but now she feels that that's not going to be enough to cover the expenses. So she has requested 20,000, correct?
Yes. Last time I spoke to her, that was what she indicated.
Okay. And that's going to go in line item. Which line item, Justin? Number?
499.
499.
She had 4,500, and it would now be 24,500.
Okay, 24,500. We'll change that line item. Justin, with the reduction of the 312.8 and the increase of the 20,000, what is that going to bring her bottom line to?
About 290.
364,200.
365.
Yes. 364,285 cents.
Okay. And we did approve this budget previous, and these changes have taken place, and we were hoping that this, and had our fingers crossed that this 312 was going to be removed, and looks like our wishes came true. So that's going to be something that we can remove. And I feel confident that she's doing a good job budgeting for these things. And if the money's not spent, the money will be there. But when it comes down to the election and she's asking for more money, we could be put in a compromising position and have a very short time to make amendments on this. So I think that it's my opinion that we need to go ahead and add this 20,000 to her budget while removing the 312. And I will put that in the form of a motion that we remove the 312,800 that was earmarked for voting machines or voting equipment, and add $20,000 to line item 499, which will bring that line item to $24,500. And the bottom line would be 364,285 cents. And that, I did put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, repeat those numbers again, please.
Okay, that, Tommy, the money that is being removed for the voting machines is $312,800.
Okay.
The money that would be going into line item 499 would be $20,000, which would bring that total to $24,500. And her total request would then go to increase to 364,285 cents.
364.
Yep, 285 cents.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Okay. I made that motion, and a second by Commissioner England. Is there any discussion on that?
Okay, this, the 312,000, will it stay in her budget?
No, that is being removed.
Okay. It will go back into the general fund?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, if not, please call roll, Tom.
Randy England,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage. Vote yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, that brings us back to salary discussion. And I am looking for some feedback from the committee.
Mr. Chairman, do you still feel that it's 25 cents is where would be a safe place to land?
Commissioner Ross, that's my opinion. And like I say, we're basing this all on projections. Everything in this budget that we've approved is based on projections. And the only thing that we've got to go by is the history of the budget and the revenues that we've received. We don't know if the revenues are going to stay relatively flat. My gut feeling is that we're not going to have as good revenue year next year as we did last because of all of this that's been going on. I'm just really concerned. And even from a personal standpoint, we've had some expenses that we've had some things that we need to purchase through our private business, and we've just tapped the brakes because we're kind of worried about where the revenue is going to be next year. But that's my only concern right now. As projections go, I feel comfortable that we'd be okay with 25 cents. But this keep this in mind that once we build this into the budget, it's there. And next year, if we do have a shortfall, it's going to be a lot more difficult to go back to all these people and say, hey, we're going to have to consider layoffs, or we're going to have to consider pay cuts or whatever. It's just going to be a tough position. But like I say, it's not a doomsday scenario. I'm trying to be realistic, and hopefully everything's going to rock right along and going to be a lot better than I anticipate. But like I say, all of this is still based on projections.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Sapp.
I think that 25 cents would be more in line with what we can do this year. There's a lot of companies that are not going to be giving raises this year. And I care very much about all of our county employees, but I feel like that in order to, be responsible to the people of the county, that we need to keep it as low as we can. And I hope the employees are understanding about this, that we're doing, I feel like, the best we can.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Savage. And you brought up a point a few weeks ago that, and I know there aren't many people, well, there are possibly lots of people listening on YouTube, but the fact of the matter is, and this was a point that you brought up earlier, and it's a very relevant point, that we could have voted a few months back that if the employees weren't working, they didn't get paid, and the full commission voted, and I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, it was a unanimous vote that we voted to fund them 100% if they were have to miss work. And I hope that they keep that in mind, that we're not here to be the bad guy, but we are here to try to keep this budget in check as best as possible while providing the services that we need to and compensating the employees. As I was talking to Ben Rogers today on the phone, and he said a lot of the counties just take for granted that they need to give their employees raise every year. And he said, don't get me wrong, I am not one of those that's a proponent of starving your employees. We need to compensate people justly for the job that they're doing. And I'm not here to say that we don't need to give anybody anything or they're non-serving. We got a lot of good employees, and we've kept this budget and the tax levy at I feel like almost as low as we possibly can over the last several years. And it's due to good management in all those offices, and we don't take any of those employees for granted. But on that same note, we've got to be very responsible with these funds that are set before us. These are pretty overwhelming numbers for 24 people to have to make decisions on. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to piggyback off what you said earlier. In the business, I hear from a lot of companies, and because it's my position to get my students jobs, and I have been told that it's going to things are looking okay for a 5 or 6 month period, but beyond that, it's not looking good for a lot of companies. And so I'm with you. I'm a little scared about things as well. I'm hesitant to spend money as well. And so, when I'm hearing it from industry, and I've already got one company that works a lot of my students that does a lot of business, it's already laying off. So I'm worried what might be coming down the pipe, and we don't know. We don't have that crystal ball set. But so I just want to piggyback off what you said.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner England. Well, we can dance around the issue all night, but we're going to have to make a motion sooner or later and make this decision. And it is a big decision. It impacts everybody in the county from a tax standpoint, and all the employees in the county. And we want to be fair to everybody. And I'm not, and because we make a suggestion for a low pay increase, that's no reflection on how we feel about our employees. But, and I might add that, and I know some people were very disappointed, but the state came back with a recommendation to give the school teachers no pay increase this year. And I know the school board and the director of schools, and I spoke with him at length over that, and he said it was a hard thing to do, but it was the right thing to do in the situation that they were in, and especially with the recommendation from the state. The right thing to do was to stay where they were and not recommend any increases this year. And I will add this, and I think Justin, I inquired with you, and I think Justin's been employed with the county for 8 years, and I think that we have almost always given somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000 pay increase. Justin, is that correct?
Yeah. So as far as just, I didn't go back and look, but as far as I can remember, we've gotten 50 cents or $5,000. Excuse me, 50 cents or $1,000 at least every year, with 1 year being the exception. I know we got a 75-cent raise 1 year. Okay,
great. So that is proof that the county commission, the body of the commission, has been has taken care of their employees over the years, and I just want to make that point. And I've not been here very long, but I feel like the county commission has been more than fair with the employees in the history that I can recall. So, is there a motion? Would anyone like to present a motion on the salaries?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Commissioner Savage.
I will make that motion of 25 cents.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Savage of a 25-cent pay increase, which is comparable to approximately $500, depending on the hours worked.
So just for my clarification, after the fact, it would be 25 cents for full-time and for part-time.
Commissioner Savage.
Yes, that's the way it's been done in the past, I think. Except those that are state mandated.
Correct.
Okay, I've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it just for discussion.
Okay, second by Commissioner England. Okay, we will open this up for discussion. Justin, I think we had some rough numbers, and approximately with that 25-cent raise, what is going to be the approximate grand total on that pay increase?
For all funds?
Yes.
For all funds, general fund, sanitation, and ambulance, it'll be $222,500. Based on what I'm looking at here. Well, that's for full-time people. The ambulance has got a few more than that, but the one that the biggest one is the general fund, and we're looking at $155,250 for it.
So we're going to be upwards or in the neighborhood with all, including part-time. I'm assuming somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Justin, in the past, when we gave a 50-cent raise, was it across the board with the part-time people also?
It's been done a little different. I think when it's a dollar amount, when we've done I know the one year we got a $500 raise, or they talked about it. It was going to be, the part-timers got half that, but it was factored on their part-time rate. I think that the last time we gave a 50-cent raise, it was across the board. I do believe that one time 6 or 7 years ago, they gave a 50-cent raise, and the part-timers only got a quarter. So it has been done both ways, as best I can remember.
Well, I certainly don't want to. I want to give a raise, but I don't want to put us in any kind of jeopardy at all.
Yeah, I do not believe that a quarter will, unless there is an absolute drastic downfall in our revenue sources. We don't actually collect. The general fund is not in that much danger from that because we don't get a super large majority of our funds from the state. Like $2 million of our $14 million is from the state or federal government. So the majority of the general fund, we won't see the big hit in general fund this year. The problem will be is if those state funds dry up, we'll have to use those pennies for something else next year. Or if sales tax starts drying up, we'll have to shift money to the school systems to maintain our match there. But I do not believe that a 25-cent raise across the board will put general fund in jeopardy of issues this year.
Well, does anybody else have another opinion about the 25-cent across the board raise? Commissioners, I'm talking to you.
Commissioner Savage, I've voiced a lot of opinion on this already, and as I was saying, I just don't want to jeopardize the question I've got, and not now, but the question I've got is, and like somebody said, maybe you, if we had a crystal ball and if Justin would budget for one of those, we could really use one, but going into next year is my concern. And I know this is not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of the budget, but it is still a substantial amount of money. $250,000 is close. We're pushing close to $1 million on this raise. So that is, each individual getting $500. That's not a lot of money for those individuals, but when you put it all in one pile to $250,000, that that could go a long way toward funding some necessities next year.
Yes,
That's my concern.
Upon this discussion, I think I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, Commissioner England, Commissioner Savage has withdrawn his motion.
I'll withdraw mine.
Okay. Well, folks, we can deliberate on this all night. And I think I'm going to say what everybody else hates to say, but at this time, I'm going to make a recommendation that there are no raises for county employees this year. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Chairman Ruby, this is a hard decision, but I'll second it.
Okay, second by Commissioner England, and we will open the floor up to discussion again. And I do understand, Commissioner England, this is a tough decision. And I know we're going to look like the bad guys here, but from a budgetary standpoint, it's just, like I say, if the economy was moving along like it has been for the past few years, it would be a no-brainer because over the past few years, the commission has voted to give every employee a raise and compensate them fairly. But with the recommendations we're seeing from the state and the state departments, like as far as the school system, we've seen, I think the last estimate was I saw there was an 8.7% reduction in overall sales tax revenues for the month of April. Our revenues were good. The rural communities and the rural counties, they held in there a lot better than the cities did. But usually what takes place there is soon to come to the rural areas. I know Commissioner Savage has been in the nursery business like I have pretty much all my life, and these things we've learned to watch them, and there are usually some indicators, and this thing is unprecedented what we're seeing right now. And I hate to be the bad guy here, but I'm just afraid that we're going to work ourselves into a economic situation next year. And my big concern is, and no, it's no secret, everybody knows I don't like tax increases. We've tried to do everything we can to prevent a tax increase. But if we get to the point next year that we see that we're going to have a budget shortfall and we enter into a recession and we have to have more money to fund this budget, guess what? The people who are suffering are the people we're going to have to go to and recommend a tax increase, and we're going to have to take some of their money to fund county employees, and they're going to be the ones coming back asking us why that you spent all of our money last year. And I know that's the worst case scenario, but that's something that we've got to look forward to. We've got to anticipate the worst and expect and hope for the best.
I agree. Director Cotton, how many employees does the county have right now?
Do you want me to include the school system?
No, don't
Or you
include
want just the county?
just the county.
350. 350.
350.
That
That
includes,
include,
yeah,
that
that
include
includes, it does. It does include part-time.
Okay. Well, how is that going to cost 250,000 if it's approximately 500 a person? Is that including the benefits or something?
It was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because every dollar we give towards salaries costs $1.20 because of benefits.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I will say about this is it is heartbreaking not to be able to give these people the money that they very much deserve. But it is also heartbreaking that the teachers aren't gonna get it either. Um, if anything, since the teachers aren't getting their raise that they would normally get from, then it makes more sense to me, even though I absolutely don't like it. It would be awfully hard to give one set a raise without giving the other a raise because they're all county employees in my view, and all of them deserve it. And the teachers are working harder now than they've ever worked, and they won't get their raise either. And so these are unprecedented times, and this is probably the hardest vote that I've had to make to date. And I don't take that lightly, and I know everyone here doesn't take that lightly also. So I just want to say
I agree with you 100%. This is the toughest decision that the county commission has to make in budget and finance. It feels a lot more personal when there are only 4 or 5 people on the committee making that decision. But the good news is that this is going to be considered by the full commission, and we're going to have, at this point, we're going to have 23 people hopefully making an educated decision on this, and we may see some more viewpoints when it gets to that point in the process. But it is a tough decision. I don't like making it. That's a fact. But I am certainly concerned about the future of the budget in the upcoming year. And hopefully after next year, if we see that this economy gets rolling, I'll be the first one to step up and say, hey, we need to give the employees raise. They didn't get anything last year. We need to compensate them to the best of our ability if we've got a little brighter outlook on the economy next year.
yes, maybe we can make it up to them for what they didn't get this year.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any more discussion? And I do understand this is a tough vote, but if there's no more discussion, Tommy, if you would, please call the roll.
Okay. Randy England? Randy England?
Yes.
Christy Ross?
Yes.
Scott Rubley?
Yes.
Tommy Savage? Vote yes. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay.
Okay, that's the hardest one we've had all night.
I agree. It's going to be the hardest one for a long time, and I know some people aren't going to understand, but like I say, we're trying to look out for the best interest of the county, and I would surely hate to go back next year and say, hey, we're going to have to make cuts, we're going to have to lay people off, we're going to have to cut positions, services maybe, and maybe we can prevent that. And like I say, and I may be looking at things from a worst case scenario, but hopefully things will be a lot brighter than we anticipate next year. And we will certainly take that into consideration and hopefully be able to more than compensate them from this non-raise this year. Folks, this has been an experience to say the least to get through this budget, and I appreciate everybody's patience. I know I make some blunders, and I do the best I can, and I hope that we have made good decisions here for the county. And like I say, this is all going to be moving on to the full commission this month. I think we've just got in the nick of time to get this advertised for get the press and have ample time to get it on the docket. So we're probably going to be considering this month, and hopefully we've made the right decisions. I hope we have. Is there any other business that needs to come before this committee tonight?
Oh, sir, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the job you've been doing this afternoon for nearly 4 hours of committees. And with that being said, I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner England.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ross. If no one is opposed, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, folks. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
All right.
Good job.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Thank you.